We are now recording, so if you have a shout out, he wears his Rudolph onesie too. If you have a shout out that you would like to share, just unmute yourself and go ahead and share it. And then we'll get started because we've got lots to do together tonight.
I mean, of course, I have to shout out my girl Skylar for going diamond on Thursday. So proud of you, girl.
So awesome.
Yes, I was just going to shout out Christy and Skylar.
I don't know.
I have to shout out Sarah because Sarah is helping host this call tonight, and she's moving tomorrow. She's literally been like packing her apartment for the last 24, 48 hours, and she still was able to plan, and today was even still like last minute prepping, and we had a quick phone call this evening, and she's a rock star. No baby, no moving, no nothing's gonna hold her back. Although, I think we lost her for a second. I don't see her on my screen anymore. Alrighty, if there are no other shout outs, I'm going to change this to speaker view so that we can just see the person speaking when we are recorded. And I'm going to share a little bit with you about what's going to happen tonight and why we kind of decided to do this now as opposed to waiting until January. So I've had a couple one-on-one calls with people. You guys have seen them because they're always in the team page, so you can go back and watch them. And then I've also talked to some of you just one-on-one, and overwhelmingly, everyone has this amazing attitude. I'm like, it's contagious because with everything going on, I have like just really just been doing the bare minimum and surviving. And I hear all these people saying, I'm not waiting for January. I'm ready to go all in now. Like I'm going to start working on 2019 today. And that is such an amazing attitude to have about our business. It's such an incredible way to look at life. It's such an awesome way to look at every single aspect of our journey. You know, so many people today or tonight are saying, January 1st, I'm going to start exercising, or I'm going to join a gym, or I'm going to start eating better, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it on January 1st. It's going to be my New Year's resolution this year, and I'm really going to do it this year. And then, you know, it just doesn't work out. Sarah says she can't hear anything. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Sarah, maybe log out and log back in. I don't even see you on here, Sarah. If you're on here. Christy, can you text her for me? So but you know, so many people are thinking, you know, like 2019, I'm going to go all in. And the thing is, we still have like a good 2 weeks plus left in 2018. And why dig ourselves a deeper hole? Why sit back with our feet up and completely relax when we could just go hard the rest of the year? And that's kind of that attitude that some of you guys have had about our business has really rubbed off on a lot of us. And we're kind of like, well, let's just do this. Let's not wait until our first call in January to do a goal setting. Let's set some goals now so we can set ourselves up for success for January. Because quite honestly, I've said this numerous times, if you work on January in January, you're late to the game. You have to start setting yourself up for success and figuring out what your month in January is going to look like before you get there. It's kind of like teaching. I always use teaching as you know, a metaphor because it's my life. But if I walked into my classroom today and decided to write down my lesson plans for today, they wouldn't be great. But if I write my lesson plans last week or the week before, then I've got time to prepare. I've got time to really get my stuff together. I'm not running around like a crazy person trying to make copies that morning. And, you know, not every day is going to be great, but it's going to be a lot better than it would have been if I would have planned it that day. So if you're someone who is, always trying to just like fly by the seat of your pants. And I get it. There are seasons in life when that's just what you do. But, if you're someone who does that just consistently in your business, then you probably don't find a lot of joy in this business. It's probably stressful. It's probably something that causes you maybe a little bit of anxiety or feels like a chore even. Like if posting on social media feels like a tedious chore to you, it's because you don't have a plan for social media. So what we want to do tonight is we want to set up a plan for 2019 because we want 2019 to be huge. So some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, I actually used this metaphor with Sarah today too. I was like, we all complain that we see Christmas decorations in Walmart and it's not even Halloween yet. Why do we see that? Because that's when people are buying them. Like the stores have to get ahead of us because they know if they put it out there now, people will start buying it now. As soon as Christmas is over, Valentine's Day will be out. It's still 60 days away or whatever after Christmas ends, but stuff goes out because people will buy it. I know that some of you bought those pumpkin-shaped Hershey Reese's cups way before Halloween. You probably ate them all and then had to go back and buy a new bag because you ate them all, right? Because you bought them so far in advance. They put it out there for a reason. So it's our job to also start putting out there what our plan is for January so that we're ready for January when January comes. If we wait until January, we're going to be behind everybody else. So tonight we're going to talk about personal goals. I hope you all printed that worksheet that we created. I know it's small and we can add to it as we go if we feel there are things we need to add to it. But we wanted to kind of talk our way through that and then actually stop every once in a while and do the work together as a team. And then we also started talking, Sarah and I randomly hosted a power hour last week when I had a snow day. And I think there were like 6 of us on or 5 of us on. And we started talking about some big ideas for 2019. And I am super excited for 2019 for us. And we would like to talk a little bit about team goals and a little bit of a formation shift that we have planned in 2019 to help raise more leaders and bring more people into the planning process of what we do as a team. And then get some feedback from you guys. And if you're not ready to give feedback tonight because you need to think about it, we're going to create a Google form and put it in the team page for you to fill out so that we get lots of feedback. So I'm going to let Sarah take over as long as she's on here. Did she pop back on? Because there she is. You must be muted, Sarah. Wonder what her issue is. I'm texting her real quick. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. She must have logged off and logged back on. There she is. Oh, we hear you now. Yay.
Can you hear me? Oh my gosh. We literally have like 6 devices here. None of them are working. Okay, catch me up. What did y'all talk about already?
Okay, so I just kind of debriefed them on like why we're talking about goals for 2019 today. What we talked about earlier when you and I had our phone call about how, stores put out Christmas stuff before Halloween because they know that people are looking for it then and people are going to buy it then. And we kind of need to be doing the same thing and have that attitude of like, not going to wait until January 1st. I'm going to go hard to finish the year. That way I'm ready for January 1st when it comes.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so first I to reference the call that I shared in the team page. It's Melanie Mitro's, well, I guess not call, it's a podcast by Melanie Mitro, and her Women Inspiring Women podcast is episode 76. the goal setting series part 1. So there is no part 2 yet that I can find, but I was just like listening through all the episodes and this one came up and it just timing. I felt this time of year, we're all getting ready to set new goals. I mean, whether you believe in New Year's resolutions, like it's something I like to do because it's a new year, it's a new, fresh, clean slate. Like you just really get to feel like you take a deep breath after the holidays and start new. And we are in a big transition right now. And so personally for me, I've got so many big life changes going on right now that I had to really step back and think about like, what are my goals and what is my why? And so one of the things that Lindsay and I have talked about recently is your why now might not be the same that it was when you started this business. So I've been coaching for almost 3 years, and my why when I started was just like to help other people get healthy, and I really want to set a good example for my kids, and I would love to someday be able to this full time. And now I really had to like step back and say, okay, those weren't pushing me as hard as I needed to be pushed. And Melanie brings up some really good things in this call about really being honest about how real and how clear is your why. So what are the things that motivate you now? And I really, if you all don't have out pen and paper, please get it out, because, and even if you have a journal, she actually is having people journal with this. And one of my goals for 2019, honestly, is to start journaling more. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay. So one of the things that she talks about is as we're assessing our accomplishments for the year and where we're at in certain goals, whether it's like our fitness or our businesses or even maybe our marriage or our families, things like that, we're always comparing ourselves with people who we know have the same or similar goals. And maybe if they started at the same time as us, or maybe later on, like let's use rank for an example. We all started at different times, but maybe many of us are working for Emerald or Diamond, and when someone goes Emerald or Diamond that we maybe they started after us, and we see that happening, and we start to doubt ourselves, and we start to think, well, I just must not be cut out for that because she got it first, and maybe I need to reevaluate this whole coaching thing because maybe I'm not good at it. And so when we start to not only doubt ourselves but what we want, and it is hard to like, when you look at it as failure, it's hard to feel like, why do I keep trying if you're not getting what your goal is. And she talked about having that same goal carry over from your vision board from 2017 to 2018 to 2019. It can get discouraging, but that doesn't mean to give up on it. And she talked about some of like the greatest entrepreneurs, the greatest, most successful people, how many times they had massive failures. And you can just Google it. I mean, I think Steve Jobs is one of them. And then they rose up in the great successes that they became because they didn't quit. And part of getting to that success is being really, really clear about what you want and what it means to you, like how hard you're willing to get there. So in your journal, she wants us to kind of work on a few things here to set us up for goal planning. She said, like, this is just brainstorming. It's just really like painting a picture. So the first thing that we want you to think about, and we can work through this afterwards, Lindsay made a worksheet, but the first thing is the gratitude for the accomplishments that we have had over the past year. Big and small, like every accomplishment that you have achieved this year, not just in the business, not just with your health journey, but in your personal life, maybe in your full-time job, and really give yourself credit for all of those things. And some of the examples that she mentioned as far as like business stuff goes and financial are, of course, paying off debt. So did you get to pay off any debt with your Beachbody income? Is that something you wouldn't have been able to do without it? Building new leaders, supporting new coaches, teaching them how, introducing them to the business and getting them set up and really integrated with the team. even going from full-time to part-time in a job, not having to work as many hours, even if you can't quit your job completely. I mean, like for me, I didn't have to work as much because now I have this supplemental income. So I didn't have to work at 3 different hospitals and pick up like 21 shifts a month. And then something as simple as how many lives did you transform? And that could be, it could be Success Club points, but I want you to look at names, and I want you to think about how many people, even if they didn't buy anything from you, how many conversations did you have where you encouraged someone, something that simple, and you made a post. This is something we talked about earlier. You made a post and somebody reached out to you and was like, thank you so much for sharing that because I needed to hear it, or I can totally relate and I felt like I was alone. Like, that's changing people's lives. That is having an impact on people, and that is a huge accomplishment. So we have to give ourselves credit for that.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
So if you guys have your worksheet out right now, I think it's really important what Sarah was just saying about how your why might change or morph a little bit while you're in this. So if you look at the very top question where it says, a year from today, where do I want to be? Nothing is impossible. I really want to push you to take like 2 minutes right now to write down what you want your life to look like. Like, there's no financial restraint. There's no like what ifs. There's no, like, if you want to live on an island in a year, then I want you to write that down. Just go ahead and write it down right now. And actually, this is something that we also got from Rachel Hollis. If you've got one of her journals, she has you do this. She has you do it for like short term, long term, and then every day you actually write down the things that you want to make happen, because she knows the importance of writing it down and how the things that you write down, you focus on. You don't want to dwell in the stuff that you don't want to dwell on the doubt. You want to focus on the hope. So go ahead and take 2 minutes to write down, a year from today, where do you want to be? And there may not be enough space there. You may need to go onto the back of the worksheet.
Yeah, and Melanie even said, like, make it the most detailed picture, not just where you want to be, who do you want to be with? Because that's a really important part of this too, because like for me, this is a big goal and something I've actually am accomplishing right now. I wanted my family to be closer to my dad so that my kids can know their grandparents. And that was a dream for me. And it's possible. I've had to work really hard for it, but think about who you want in your life from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Just what would be a perfect day for you? Did you get it?
So if you finish before we get back to talking, you can go ahead and look at like last year, the reflection piece. I realized I wrote the same questions in both blocks. So I crossed out the first 2 questions in the first block, and I just did, where did I fall short? What excuses or mental blocks did I struggle with? And then for the next block, like, what accomplishments did you have? What did you do? Don't just think business wise. Like, maybe you set out to do 1 date night a month in 2018 and you did that. That's an accomplishment. Maybe you set out to save $5,000 this year and you saved $3,000. That's an accomplishment. Even though you didn't hit your goal, you still saved $3,000. Whenever you're ready, Sarah, you can keep going.
Okay. And then so for the next part, we want you to identify the places this past year that you struggled. So struggled as far as something that you wanted to achieve, but this is the part that's really hard. So this is the part where you have to be honest. And I've been going through this a lot with myself lately. And while we do want to give ourselves grace for things that happen in life, a lot of times we are making excuses, procrastinating, or we're just afraid. And honestly, those are all things that I can say, like that fear of failure, fear of rejection, those are very real things. So what if I put in the time and effort and I still fail and I don't achieve that is a real fear. So this is just kind of where we're identifying things that we need to work on.
Sorry, I'm like cheerleading for myself in the margins of my things here. So I wanted to just talk about the next part on the worksheet before Sarah actually tells us what to do there. Because if you look, it says, what are 5 goals for 2019? These must be tied to an emotional response. So this is something that we talk about a lot. And we got it from Chalene Johnson. Chalene says, in her mind, success is not a number. It's not an income. It's not a certain number of, even for her, I don't think it's even a certain number of lives changed or a certain number of tickets sold or, people enrolled in her latest online class. It's really a feeling for her. And so she measures her success on this feeling that she wants to achieve. Excuse me. And so I want you to really sit back and think about what success would feel like to you. I can tell you, like, how will it make your life better? And again, this is not all just business success. I can tell you that for me, success would feel like I have freedom in my schedule to not necessarily have to clock in for someone else. The freedom in my schedule to be able to go to my kids' schools, go on my kids' field trips, do the things that my kids need me to be able to do, and be completely present and not worrying about what's going on in my classroom or whether or not my sub plans were okay and understandable or anything like that. It would also feel like I could walk by a package of Oreos without eating one. It would feel like temptation doesn't necessarily mean I just eat whatever I see. It would mean that I have better self-control. It would feel more controlled. It would also feel like I'm a priority in my own life. It would feel like I love me, and that I'm okay with me. It would feel like I don't necessarily need anybody else to make me feel like I'm doing the right thing or like I'm a good person or a good mom, or it would just feel like a self-confidence, I guess, like I would just know that I'm doing a good job. Like my best may not be the best or perfect, but it's really good and I'm doing a good job. That's what success would feel like to me. It would feel like being able to create my own schedule and have 100% confidence that I'm doing everything in my power and doing a really good job at it to be the best mom and businesswoman possible. So just think about that. Like, what would your emotional response be? None of those things are tied to my rank. None of those things are tied to how many Success Club points I get every month. None of those things are tied to how many invites I send each month. Now, I say they're not tied to it because it's not me feeling confident, me feeling like I have freedom is not necessarily dependent on Success Club points. Or if you see that I have 10 Success Club points, it doesn't mean that I'm confident, I guess is what I'm saying. But I also know I have to set some goals related to inviting and related to Success Club points and related to using the portion control containers in order to feel like food doesn't control me, in order to feel like I'm successful, in order to gain that freedom, that feeling I want where I don't have to work for someone else. There's things that I can do on a quantifiable level in order to get the feeling of success that I'm looking for. A rank or an income or a number doesn't make me successful. What makes me successful is when I feel successful. And my success might be different than Melanie Mitro's success. You know, Top Coach is not on my radar, never has been, probably never will be. But if that's her feeling of success is being celebrated on stage like that, then that's what she is working for. So she sets her goals accordingly. So I really want you to take a minute to think, like, what would feel successful to me? Not necessarily what is it supposed to look like on paper or in the back office. Another thing to consider when you're thinking about your emotional response is what's going to keep you motivated when things get hard. So, if I say my goal is to hit Success Club 10 every month, Success Club is not going to motivate me. Success Club is not going to motivate me to keep plugging away when I'm sick and my child then gets sick and we're out of work because neither one of us can get out of bed because we have fevers, and then my dog has some type of vet emergency. Like, in those moments, Success Club is not a motivator to me. So that's when I really need to focus on that emotional response that I'm looking for, because that will keep me motivated to keep going when things are hard. Megan, I don't think that's bad. She's saying that she can't seem to find something that motivates her enough to try harder. Is that bad? So I guess what I would say is just like, when you look up at where you put a year from today, where do I want to be? were you really honest, or did you hold back because you're afraid to share with people what you really want? Like, I'll go ahead and share mine with you guys, because I planned on taking a picture of it anyway. So a year from today, I would like to be working from home full time in a home that I buy myself, that I pay for, where I live with my kids. And I would like to be able to be working full time from home so that I can put them and me first. And I would like to really understand and know that I am enough, and that I don't need a partner necessarily to help provide for me and my family. That is exactly where I would like to be a year from today. It doesn't mean that, and that might not be as scary as some other people's things. But it is scary to me right now. And, I may not be able to accomplish it, but in a year, that's where I would like to be. So just think about that. Like, that's me being really, really honest and knowing that it's going to be really hard. I may be able to accomplish one of those things, but not all of those things. But just, throw it out there. And there's got to be something in you that you want, but that you just haven't shared with anybody because you're afraid of what they're going to think, or you're afraid of what if you don't hit it? What if you don't, I want to stay home full time. I want to buy a house. What if I can't do that? Well, then I don't do it this year. I'll do it next year, like, think about it that way. But just be completely honest with yourself. You don't have to share this with anybody if you don't want to. I would encourage you to, because I think that helps. But I would say dig deep. If you are having a hard time finding something that motivates you, then really dig deep.
Go listen to some Shaun T, speaking of dig deep. That's the guy that'll teach you to dream. I think it's a good thing, Megan. Sometimes I have struggled with that too. I think it's a good thing to be just content with your life. And we're not telling you that, like, we're not saying that you shouldn't be content, but I think, like, things that I could think of, that even if I'm content with, if I had my perfect life as I wanted it, what would I want to do for other people? Like, that's something that really that could motivate me, like helping my dad. My parents are really getting up there, and like, I think that he's always wanted to go to Alaska, like being able to take him on an Alaskan cruise before he gets too old to go, like stuff like that would just be so amazing. And maybe you just haven't let your mind kind of drift to that possibility yet.
I think that can I just like say something really quick? So I'm not like I'm actually like not content with my life. There's so many parts of my life that I would like to change, and the one, like, especially is like finances. I would like to like not have to worry about finances, but I think the thing that holds me back the most is fear. I fear that I won't be good enough, like, to lead other people. I feel I'm fearful of like what that life would look like. Like, I'm fearful of actually being happy, like, completely. Like, does that make sense? So like, fear is my thing. So like, I have all these big dreams and aspirations, but like, I don't let myself go there because of fear. Is that weird?
So what
No.
what could happen if you do go there? Like, what are you afraid of?
I'm not really sure. Like, afraid of being happy. Like, I don't know what that would look like. Being completely happy and content with my life. You would think that I would like want that, but I'm like scared of it almost. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Maybe you're afraid
What
of
I
have to happen in order to get there.
What's that?
Maybe you're afraid of things that would have to happen in order to get there, because that's been what's been holding me back for a while, is like the things that need to change or the things that I need to do are not necessarily easy. So I'm afraid of them more than I'm afraid of I'm afraid of going through them or doing them as opposed to like the end result.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's really not, I think it's extremely normal to always have some sort of fear or anxiety regarding the unknown, even if it's something good, just because we don't know what it'll look like. And that, like, it's almost, we talk about wanting to have control a lot. And for me, that's what that fear would stem from, is just like, it would be outside of my comfort zone, even if it is something good. And what I really love about this is, like, she encourages us to journal even more. Like, so, you know, write that fear down and then write down everything that you're saying, and every day kind of reflect on it and write a little bit more. It's almost like therapy with yourself. And that's actually the next step, is to go through and circle all the things that you accomplished and then highlight the things that you need to work on and like your fears. And what I'm going to use that for is to help guide my personal development selection for 2019. So all of the struggles, fears, all of those things that are holding me back, you know, we can, I think when we talk a little bit more, what Lindsay is going to talk about in a bit, we're working in personal development with those. And I think that we can, I'm pretty sure we all share, probably our fears are across the board very similar, and the things that hold us back. And so I think as a team, we can work through those, and personal development is so huge. So I think using journaling and personal development, it's going to really help us progress through these challenges. Lindsay, are you okay if I talk about the 5 goals?
Yeah.
The last piece.
Mm-hmm.
So the next part is 5 most important things for you to do in the next 12 months. And she really wants you to, we really want these to be in line with our priorities for our life. So you have to really be honest, like, so my priority is my family. If I also have a goal of being number 1 top coach, those aren't in line, because I cannot put my family first and put in the amount of time that it takes to be Melanie Mitro at this point. So make sure that they all really like have that emotional response in you that Lindsay talked about, and really think about how will each of those things make your life better, whether it's, you know, financial comfort or the comfort of you know, being with your family more often. How will it improve your life? And we really, like, this is the last thing that I want to say. Like, first of all, you don't want to overcommit. So I would say what I'm going to do is, like, there should be good big goals, but that number 1 goal should be the biggest one. And don't have the goal to, like, start a new business and cross country and you know, like, write a book. And I mean, pick one thing, one big thing, and then everything else should kind of like work in with it and support it. And this has to be, these goals all have to be something that whenever things get tough and you don't want to get up early, or you don't want to not watch Netflix, or you want dinner instead of, you know, doing a power hour, if you want it bad enough, these are the things that will drive you to action when you want to procrastinate.
So it may be hard to just write down 5 goals, like sitting there, you may have to think about them a little bit more and come back to this. But I'm going to really encourage you not to do, though, is to just let this worksheet, like float around in your bag or get shuffled underneath a notebook on your desk or, wherever it is that you work. I really, really believe that this worksheet should be, if you're a binder girl, then in the front of your binder. If you're a planner girl, then fold it up and tape it into the cover of your binder. Do whatever you need to do to keep it up front and in your face, so that you don't lose sight. Like in those times when you're scared, you're just, of the unknown, or those times when life just sucks and you can't even think about eating or getting out of bed, let alone, working on something that's going to benefit you in a year. Looking at this will really help you to revisit what you want and why you want it and that feeling you're trying to achieve. And particularly in those moments where you feel most hopeless and most fearful, it's important to remember you're trying to get rid of those feelings. And so you have to keep plugging in and keep showing up and being consistent, because, you don't want those feelings anymore. And the only way to make them go away is to keep going. Just keep going. So one of the things that we plan to do in 2019 in order to help our team. So, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, can I say?
Yeah.
No, you just reminded me, one of the really good, it was a different podcast, but one of the really good suggestions Melanie had was she wanted to pay off her student loans. So she took a picture of books to symbolize that, and she had it everywhere. She had it on her office, she had it on her bathroom mirror, she had a screensaver, like something that reminded her constantly keep that goal in her face. Like even when there are a million distractions from life, it was there, like on her refrigerator, everywhere. And that is really, like, once I have a house to live, home, and I'm not surrounded by boxes, that's something I'm going to do, because I think that staying focused, that is a really awesome suggestion.
I like that. So when we started talking about making this worksheet and doing this call and having it be like a working call, we started really thinking about like our responsibilities as a team to help you accomplish these goals. And we talked about how, we kind of got into this habit of setting a monthly goal and then sharing the next month what we hit, what we didn't, and then sharing new goals. And then, some people do that, some people don't. Some people are consistent, some people aren't. We may make goals and then never look at them again until it's time to reflect on them. And so we kind of wanted to get away from that pattern, because clearly it didn't work. So this is what we decided was, since there's so many of us who do have goals that are business oriented and life oriented, and we are all doing life together, we're not just doing business together, that we wanted to put into place some things as a team that would really allow us and encourage us to step up, keep these goals at the forefront of our minds, and also set us up for success, so that when we don't know how to achieve what it is we want to achieve, or when we don't even know what we need to do in order to achieve it, the team can kind of set us up with some things in order to be successful when we don't know how to set ourselves up. So one of the things that we are going to do as far as a type of formation shift for 2019 is, so many of us have a success partner, or we have a challenge group unit that we run with, and we do a lot of things with them. But what we really wanted to focus on was kind of expanding our unit a little bit, because what we've realized is, like, the other day when we sat down and talked to some of the girls that were on the Power Hour, because Sarah and I run our challenge groups together too. When we have these other girls coming in and sharing what they're doing in their challenge groups, it was like, oh, that's such a good idea. And we all just kind of sat there and brainstormed and shared these things. And it was like, dang, we get so used to doing what we're doing with our people. And I'm not saying we're going to change that because that's working, but we get so used to doing what we're doing with our people that we don't know necessarily what's going on in other people's groups and what other people's thinking outside the box looks like and sounds like. And so we need to really open it up so that we are having those cross conversations, and so that we're almost like, if you're a teacher, a PLC, like, yes, we're all coaches and I run things with this group and you run things with this group. So let's have two people from those groups get together and just discuss what they're doing so we can take things away and bring them back to our group to talk about and share. And so one of the things that we decided we would do in 2019 is we would create success pods. And actually what these are going to look like is almost like your challenge group pod. I think we agreed it would be 5 people. Is that what we said, Sarah? 4 or 5 people? Okay. And so you're almost going to be like a little team, like a little, I don't know if any of you are Harry Potter fans or if any of you are Ron Clark fans, if you're teachers, but they kind of have like, they have houses. And so you mix people up and put them in different houses and give them names. So what we're going to do is something similar to that. We're going to have like a virtual house or club, I guess, or team, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to do some things throughout the year that are going to promote your group stepping up into a leadership role, and then also stepping up into, just like making you work together with a different group of people so that you're sharing different ideas. You can take them back to your challenge pod, and really kind of expanding what we're doing. So what we want to do is anybody who's considered a business builder. Now this is like, you can be a business builder no matter what your goals are, what your income is. It's someone that shows up in the team page, you check in, you come to team call. Everyone on this call is a business builder. I'm just going to go ahead and say that because you're on the call. Doesn't matter what your rank is, how long you've been doing it, what your income is, none of that. So if you're on this call, you're a business builder because you want to help people. And so we're going to get a list of names. I'm going to put a poll in the team page. And if you want to be in one of these success pods, you'll click yes. And then we are going to assign you to success pods so that you're talking to people and working with people that you might not necessarily be talking to or working with. They may not be in your downline. They may not be in your challenge group. You may not even have their phone number. And we're going to tell you to exchange phone numbers and to create a group text chat thing in your phone. And you're going to start talking to these people at least monthly, because then what we're going to do is, if you look in the team calendar folder in our Google Drive, sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. I've already started the 2019 team calendar, and I think it's the last team call of every month. It might be the 3rd team call of every month. I can't remember. I titled them PD Pod. And what's going to happen is your pod, you guys are going to come up with a name, like a team name for your pod. And it's going to be a word that is going to represent or symbolize what you want to contribute to the team this year. So if you guys were in the Team Courage page at any point, you noticed that last year, Summer got rid of the Team Courage page and created a Team Courage Fearless page. So what she did is her word was fearless for the year 2018. She wanted everyone to really resonate with that word and connect with that word and like be that word throughout the year. So you and your pod are going to pick a word that is going to symbolize you and what you're going to contribute to Team Grit and Grace, because we want more people contributing, stepping up, leading. This is our team. So then your group is going to be responsible for signing up for one team call a year. So at some point in the year, your group is going to be responsible for signing up, and you are going to be responsible for presenting either something that you've taken away from your personal development. Maybe you're just going to do like a book chat on your personal development, but you are going to add value to this team, and you are going to step up and be a leader, because leadership is scary. We know that. So for you to sign up and host a call by yourself, that's scary. But these are going to be people that you grow with, that you work with, that you communicate with on a regular basis. You may, if you're struggling to find a success partner, you may even find your success partner in this group. And it's going to be a group of people that are going to help you stay connected and help you to grow and work toward the things that you're working toward throughout the year. But also it's going to be a group that is going to be responsible for contributing to the vitality of our team, because it's not just a certain group of people or the people who have been here the longest or the people who have, most stars next to their name or anything like that. It's not their responsibility or their job. And we want more people. We want new people coming with new ideas. We want people growing all the time. Whatever your success looks like and feels like, we want you working toward that every single day. And so this is one of the ways that we're going to encourage that. So when we get off the call, if you know someone that you talk to normally is not on the call, it looks like we're missing quite a few people this evening, or some people have hopped off because I know we're running later than normal. Then please connect with them and let them know what the pod thing is. I'll go live in the team page about it this week so people really have an understanding. Don't back down from this. Don't feel like it's going to add one more thing to your plate. Don't feel like it's going to be a stressor or, extra work on your part. It's not. The reason why we're making it a pod is so that it's not more work on you, but also so that you're learning from so many different people, and you can take that back into your unit that you work with, or your success partner, or your own business, and really, utilize it and apply it to what you're already doing, because we all have such incredible ideas, and there's just no way to share them all in our team page unless we start networking better within our own team. I hope that makes sense. And then from there, we're going to be doing things with pods, like some competition type things within the team page, and hosting something similar to the Team Cup, but it's going to be just grit and grace, and there'll be prizes to win throughout the year and things like that. So you're really going to be encouraged to work together with that pod. So I'm so excited for 2019. We have so many things on the calendar already, if you go in and look at it, that are really going to help set you up for your feeling of success. And they're going to be fun, and I'm all about that. So, and that's all I got. I don't know. Did I miss anything, Sarah, that I was supposed to share? Do you have anything else you want to add, Sarah? Sorry, you keep freezing on me. Did you say no? Okay. All right, I'll stop recording then. And I'm sorry that we went later. I tried to warn you that it would be like a power hour before we got on, because I knew it would take a little bit longer. But I love you guys, and I hope you have a great week. To all you teachers out there, survive. We're going to make it. It's only a couple more days. They're going to be wild, but it's going to be okay. And I'll see you guys this week. Love you.